Crypto mining has been around for quite some time, and with it, it has brought some interesting tech to the table, like this ONDA D1800 BTC motherboard. This board features not one, not two, not four, but 6 PCIe Express graphics slots. This means you can easily add 6 cards in a nice little sandwich and you will have 6 graphics cards mining away. This is all good and well for mining, but what about gaming? Unfortunately, I already tried to do Crossfire or SLI setups with this. It is just not supported, so that's a little bit disappointing. Would have loved to see a Crossfire setup work. To run games on the system, I had to install Windows 10, and the CPU is an Intel J1800 CPU. It's a dual core 2.4 GHz, and it also has laptop memory installed. SODIMM's 1 4GB stick. So it's not too bad spec-wise. It's about an entry-level laptop. So I would say this board basically comes down to laptop components. We went a little bit overkill. We went for an RX 5500 XT 4GB. This is the Asus Evo edition. Pretty looking card. You can probably hear that CPU fan. It's making a little bit of noise already. But you know what? We're gonna give it a test. I think why not test Cinebench first and see how powerful the CPU actually is. There we go, the 2-core is chugging along. While that's trying to finish, just a little bit of a heads up. I did try a couple of things already. I've tried to run Tomb Raider, or Shadow of the Tomb Raider rather, and the results were not great. Got about 15 FPS average. It took about 2 hours to run. So it's definitely not keen on the latest and greatest 3D games. Hence why I've decided to go with something a little bit lower spec or lower requirement spec in something like Valorant or even League of Legends, which actually requires a potato to run. So I'm guessing that that would be a little bit better to run on the system. And as you can see, I'm going to skip ahead because this is taking quite long. So it finally completed with a whopping 73 points, and it only took about 15 minutes. So not too bad, I suppose. 73 points, I think that's the lowest score I have ever seen. But at least the CPU did not overheat with that tiny little fan. It's not even getting warm, really. So color me impressed, I suppose. Now to try and see if this system will actually run Valorant. Valorant is not a very high intensive graphical game, so I'm expecting it to run at least. I don't know what frames to expect from the CPU, because the CPU is obviously going to be the bottleneck. 4 GB memory should be enough to run this game. I haven't checked the minimum specs. I'll list it in the video. Vanguard not initialized. Okay, we need to reboot. Okay, so let's try this again. For graphics, I think I'm going to leave everything default at 1080p, which should be fine. I don't see any graphics quality. We've set it to medium and some VSync off, improve clarity off, experimental sharpening is off, bloom is on, distortion is on, and first person shadows is also on. We're going to leave everything default settings. Client FPS, yeah, we want to see client FPS. Show both, no? Graph only, show both. Total frame time, CPU, game time, I don't even know what all this is. Anyway, let's just, client FPS, that's what we want to know. Close settings, let's play. I hope I can do practice rounds. Play. Practice, here we go, practice, okay. Enter shooting test, enter range. You will remain in your, that's fine. Okay, so here we go. Gonna play Valorant. It looks like it's medium settings on the quality, and I'm hoping to hit about 40 FPS. I don't think we're gonna hit 60 frames a second. It would be awesome if we could hit 60 frames a second, but that CPU is really bothering me, especially after we did our Cinebench benchmark. The CPU didn't even turn hot, so I'm pretty sure they've limited it quite hectically, basically just to run an operating system while the graphics card does most of the work. So yeah, let's see what it does. Okay, it's loaded. Play Sova, that's fine. Okay, so currently we're getting about, ooh, that's not a smooth experience at all. Okay, so it jumps around FPS wise between 20, 39, not great. Let's see if we zoom in. Oh, wow, that's terrible. Oh, wow, okay. It's so jerky. It actually goes, if I look at the ground, it's about 70 frames. Just don't look up, then you can definitely play it on here. But as soon as you start looking up and shooting things, I would not consider this to be playable at all. Medium settings actually looks terrible in this game. I would not recommend this experience at all. And I think that kind of sums up kind of what I was expecting. Between 20 to 30 frames a second in the CPU on Valorant is not great. So if you buy any of these motherboards, please use it for mining, which is the intention of it. Skip the gaming part of it because you will be disappointed. But thanks guys, this thing was very hectic to set up, an absolute nightmare. So why don't you make me sleep a little bit better tonight by subscribing and hitting that like button. I will see you in the next video.